Please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Colleen, will you take roll call, please?
Wolf.
Present.
Zimmerman.
Here.
Lalou.
Here.
Schmidt.
Here.
Rudai.
Here.
Long.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Husey.
Here.
Hageman. Here.
Okay, we're all present and accounted for. We have a quorum. Looking for adoption of the agenda for tonight. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
I so. I'll second.
Motion's been made by Deb and seconded by Kathy Schmidt. Item number 6, public comment. Opening it up for public comment.
Do we need to vote on that?
Oh, sorry.
Allison Shantz, TEA President. I have a public comment. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So we want to continue to bring our positive messages to you guys, our union's member spotlight. So this month we have in the elementary school, Michelle Twite, Denise Heisig, and Melanie Hanlon for their onboarding with the elementary virtual school program. It's taken them a lot of work and a lot of time. It's a totally new system to all of them, so I just want to give them big props that, you know, they're doing an excellent job, and it is a ton of work. In the middle school, we would like to spotlight Don Beasley and Becky Wagner for their work with the web program. It's that 6th grade orientation done by the 8th grade students. As someone who teaches 6th grade, I got to witness a lot of that in play today, and they do such a great job of organizing those kids and having real student mentor bonds. So that was fun to see, and I mean, I know that those staff put in a lot of work over the summer. And then at the high school, we'd like to spotlight Jim and Paula Norman for their excellent tech and teaching support that they offered to staff during in-service. It was really invaluable. A lot of staff had a lot of really great feedback from their sessions. And then I also want to bring a thank you from our members to our board and our admin team for pushing back the start of the school year. Having that extra week of time to work in our classrooms, to really familiarize ourselves with our systems that we're going to be using this year, our technology, and making sure that, you know, we got as much time as we could to prepare and plan for this all new challenge. It was really invaluable, so thank you for that.
Thank you, Allison. Is there any other public comments? Okay, hearing none. I need to go back. I forgot to ask for a vote for the adoption of the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's been made on that. Moving on to the consent agenda item. The consent agenda items were in our packet. It's the approval of the minutes from August 11th and the 25th, the invoices from August 12th to September 8th, the employee contract adjustments with the replacement staff and above pay, donations from Hatchet Pride, and early graduation. So I'm looking for a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I second it. Rudai.
Motion's been made by Kathy Schmidt, seconded by Bonnie. Any questions? Comments? Again, some very nice donations came in through the Hatchet Pride. That looks like that's moving on quite well. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? reports, item 8. Who would like to start? Do we pick on Guy since he's on the screen?
Okay, the elementary school, we had some late staff changes, or staff openings that came up. I included that in my report. Thanks to Jackie Barks, Margaret Terry, and Heather Firth for helping out as we try to get some positions hired, kindergarten, 4th grade, and with special education, we don't have a position to hire right now, but we had a medical situation come up for one of our staff. The school year's gotten off to a great start, at least I hope it has. We're going to continue to look at some of our times as we, anytime you start a school year out, you're looking at your times work, and some of what you put in place over the summer, are those things working? With some of the changes we had to make with COVID, it's really causing us to take a look, and that's really what we left these first few days, is to take a look at, do our times work, do our situations work, how's lunch working out, are we social distancing, what areas of the building do we need to make some adjustments to. But for the most part, we had a very good first day. It was great to get the kids back. It just felt really, really good to have the students back in the building. So I guess that's what I have for you. Do you have any questions?
Was there any excitement in the kids being back?
Yeah, I think everybody was excited. The students, aside from the face mask, it just felt like a normal day. First day back, they come in and they're excited about being there. But I think there's a different excitement too from the staff, and I felt very excited. I said to one of the staff, 27 years, and I don't think I've been this anxious to get kids back in the building. In those 27 years, this is probably the most anxious I've been to welcome everybody back.
Oh, thank you.
So, I do, Guy said some things there that I completely agree with. I think we're all really anxious to get everybody back. I know just kind of rounding with our teachers over the last week or 2 weeks, it's neat to see how optimistic they are. Everything's different than what it's been in the past, and I don't think we've ever prepared for something like this. So everything from the cohorts and building the schedules, but just in the routine of teaching and what that's going to look like for our staff as they blend it between in-person and the remote days. So I think everybody's in really good spirits so far. I mean, a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainties, but as far as the work goes, everybody's really engaged in it and looking forward to the opportunities that this presents. There's a lot of things that you can do differently with 12 kids in a class than you can with 24 or 27, and that's the things that they're focusing on right now, is how engaging that in-person learning will be. So there's some good things, and there's some things we're looking forward to. Guy mentioned the times, making sure that we don't have bottlenecks in our schedule, places where we can't be socially. Those are the things I think that keep us all up at night. But I'm looking forward. Tomorrow is our first cohort day where we're going to have half the kids in the building, so it'll be really telling to see kind of pickup, drop off, lunch times, the limited recess that we have, and the hallway movements. If those things are all flowing smoothly, and what changes we're going to have to make. So the planning part's kind of over. Now it's time to see how everything fits and works and make changes as we go. So I'm happy to say the second thing I just had on my list here is our athletics. I'm happy to say that Mr. Gerstenberger's worked really hard to make sure that middle school has athletics this year, that we can continue to develop our athletes and keep them engaged in after-school activities. So it will be a little shortened season. It's intra-squad, like I mentioned before, so we won't be competing against other schools, just ourselves. And it'll just be the cohort. So it will be smaller groups, which, again, offers a lot of one-on-one time with coaches that typically wouldn't be there. So a lot of good things, even though it's a different year, and we all look like a bunch of bank robbers when we're in the building, but there's a lot of good things. So we're looking forward to those things. So thanks.
Thank you, Michael.
Going last of the three buildings, I would echo the same things that Wendell and Guy spoke to, and I was talking with some staff members about that whole concept that we've been prepping for months, and especially some very intense prep the last couple of weeks. And you're, you know, if you want to have an analogy, think about that big performance or big game. Everybody's ready for it to start, and you know, we're just kind of speaking to the point of once you start into that performance or game, things just kind of take care of themselves. And so you're just really, you know, looking at the fact that you prepared well, and now, you know, things are gonna come up that you didn't anticipate, but we're very well suited to solve those problems and keep working with kids. So, you know, we echo the same thing. We're excited to have kids back in the building and start working with them and just doing what educators do. So we're looking forward to that piece. In my board report, I added a couple of thank yous, but especially to the staff for their hard work the last couple of weeks. And as I think I mentioned before, the high school BLT with their work over the summer and prepping going into this school year. So just some really great things being witnessed the last few weeks among staff and preparing for kids. Stacy, did you want to just quickly mention Link Crew today?
So we had Link Crew today. It was a whirlwind of a day. It really was. But I want to give a special thanks to our Link Crew team, Sherry Woodall, Adam Blomberg, Aaron Marvin, Shirley Derlett, all gave up their time to really help out. Because we had to have the schedule look a little different than years past because we had to socially distance the kids, we couldn't have all the freshmen pile into the gym and then all of them go to their classes at the same time. We had to do some creative things to kind of split the schedule so that half of the kids were doing Link Crew activities, half of the kids were doing their schedule, and then we flip-flopped in the afternoon. And there was a lot of moving pieces to that, so I really appreciate everybody's flexibility and being able to work with us. But Adam Blomberg and Amanda Johnson really stepped up and did a lot of leading through the kids with their Link Crew stuff. We really tried to take a virtual program and do the things that we could do with that, but do it face to face, and take some of the elements that we had in our old assembly and put them in, so the kids still got a connection and some fun, but do it socially distanced. And it worked out really, really well, and I think the kids really liked it. I think a good change that we made and something that we're going to build on for next year is we really wanted to do some type of culminating activity with everybody at the end. And even though we weren't able to bring everybody together, we did do a culminating activity with each group, and they had a lot of fun. And we did trivia, like with when they took the kids on the tour about different aspects of the high school. We did Tomahawk trivia, like different things throughout the community, and that was really fun. The biggest question that stumped everybody was they didn't know who the mayor was. So we gotta work on that. But,
I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, we had two groups get it right out of 9. So, but it was very fun. The other thing that was amazing was we got to actually use the facility outside. And we were able to take the kids outside and socially distance them on the turf. And first of all, it's awesome because there was no dew, it was dry, I mean it was cold and windy anyway, but it was beautiful. And then we were able to use the sound system with the wireless mic. So we were able to actually go down on the football field and like be around the groups, and still the sound was amazing. The facility, that part of it was awesome. So it was really cool. It was that part was really awesome, and I think it was a really great way to kind of, again, ease the anxiety of the freshmen, help them make some connections, but yet also help our teachers kind of step into the world a little bit softly in preparation for tomorrow. Because we did see some things that, we're definitely going to have to coach up. I mean, it's hard to keep kids socially distanced. They're not built that way. They don't want to stay apart. So those are just things we're going to have to constantly keep coaching them on. But I think overall it went really well. We were all excited. I think the kids are really excited to be back, and I'm really tired, but it was good.
Stacy, could you give a brief overview of what the link in the web is for our new board members? Are you familiar with web and link? Have you heard the term? Oh, okay.
It's a freshman and 6th grade transition program.
Okay.
So we pair up those grade levels with upperclassmen or 8th graders that help them transition through the year.
Thank you. I know I came across a couple 8th graders that were excited about it. I said, "You're out." He goes, "Yeah,
Yeah, we
Because I
actually,
wanna-
I was outside and, getting ready for the kids to come in, and I was telling Ryan, I had to turn, one high schooler away, who was here, doesn't have to be here till Thursday, but he was here ready to go. And I said, you don't need to be here till Thursday, you can go back home. Oh, okay, so, but he was ready to go, so, so I think the kids are excited to be back.
Thank you.
The only other things I noted on the board report were just a couple of really positive things dealing with some different grant sources. So one of them was SEL related, social emotional learning, and that's a project that Stacy was working on and obtained a grant. And then the other one was just an ongoing program with Korean Technical Education, where we've been earning some different industry certifications over time and receiving grant funds back for that as well. So I just wanted to keep you up to date on those two items too.
Appreciate that. Did you have anything else, Wendy? Or, not Wendy, looking at you, Stacy.
She worked nicely.
I have eyes in the
I
back
don't
of my
want to
head.
steal Wendy's thunder, I know she's anxious to get going, no, that's it, so.
Okay, thanks.
I love your enthusiasm, Stacy. You know, you could just tell, even though it had to be very tiring,
It was.
but it sounds like it was a very positive thing, so.
It was, and like I said, we're really trying to, every year we're trying to improve, and we want to make sure that, one thing we're focusing on this year is trying to do our, monthly, academic follow-ups and social follow-ups. So we created, it's actually kind of funny, we created a traveling trophy. So, having little, like, competitions with our crews, and it's an old trophy that I made way back in the day we used to do a resource hour dodgeball tournament. So I took this old mixing bowl and we got a thing on there, but we decorated it with a face like Wilson, you know, with Tom Hanks and Castaway. We put a wig on it and a mask, and we have it up in the thing. So every month when we do some type of social follow-up, the crew that wins will take their picture with the traveling trophy and we'll put it up. So we're just trying to
That's neat.
keep doing some things to keep the program going.
That's cool.
Thank you. And Teresa, you've been a little busy.
Yes, we have an increase in our virtual numbers, and I tried to give this as late as possible so it would be accurate, and we had 4 change from the time I turned this in at noon today. I think the overall number will be the same at the beginning of the day tomorrow, but the numbers will shift by grade level. So I think we have a lot of people who are very uncertain coming back to school and uncertain of what virtual would look like for their children and how their children would respond. So I think once kids get back in the building and they live with the masks and with social distancing, we could see some kids look to virtual, and we could see some students who are in virtual currently who choose to opt out. They have until the 18th, and we would strongly encourage them to make the decision by the 17th, because next week on the 18th is our third Friday count. So our guidance counselors will be watching the numbers very closely, and they are our coaches, so they'll be working with our students to make sure that they're on a trajectory to get very engaged in virtual or to pull out and make that decision. The reasons that people went to virtual were wide. We also have at least 10 students at the elementary who applied for homeschooling, some of which have applied in the past. And we have about 7 students at the elementary who applied to other virtual programs. A few of them came back because they were on long waiting lists at other programs, and a few of them went that way just to quickly secure a spot. So we really did harvest a good majority of our students who couldn't come in person and wanted to stay at the Tomahawk district. So I'll take any questions if you have, otherwise the report's probably pretty self-explanatory of who's in it, students at each level. And I want to thank our guidance counselors. They've really worked a good majority of the summer to put students in, follow up with families. They worked really hard the last month. And I would agree with Allison that the last 2 weeks that the teachers have been on site trying to learn the program, they have also worked very hard. But a huge thank you to our teachers and our guidance counselors at every level. All right, thanks. I'm sure I'll give you an update next time as well, because these numbers will change quite a bit.
Thank you, Teresa. Wendy, still up there? Wendy.
Hi. So So our pupil service staff has been putting in a ton of work. Our counselors, our social worker, our school psychologists have been working with staff to both prepare themselves and students and to address social emotional needs. Our school nurse, Trina has put in so much time preparing protocols and adjusting the changes and just getting procedures in place. So Trina really deserves a shout out. She's done a ton of work and thought and meetings to get everything prepared for people. And then our SPED staff has been working with families and related services and regular teaching staff to really work to figure out, regardless of which setting kids are in, virtual or in person, to find ways to make things work for each kid based on their need individually. And they've just found a lot of ways to think outside the box and really make things work for kids regardless of what their condition or setting is. So, shout out to all the staff.
Thank you, Wendy. Mike, do you have any updates from your department with all the work that you have to do there?
Last week we finished up our capital projects for the year. Roofing completed last week, and then the complete control is in, and we're working on the programming for our heating system, which we turned the heat on today, which is probably the earliest we've ever had to turn the heat on. It's on. Well, it's on for the year now. Anyway, so then the Hatchet Pride project, we're about 95% complete there. They finished coating on the track last week, waiting for the liners to come in and line the track. I'm not sure, haven't heard when that's going to happen yet. Signage, the donor wall signage is coming on this week. Looking to find some lighting to illuminate that wall, and then that should be complete, project will be complete. I see a football team was able to practice on that last night, and today they're out there, so that's ready to go. So we're good, waiting for the first game to start. When's that? 18th, 20, 22nd, 28th, somewhere. This Arlen Wingate, who's taking my place, it's really his official first board meeting here, so just want to introduce you to Arlen. And he'll do a great job. He's been here 3 weeks now. And he's picked up, he's learned how to say no already, so that's a good thing. So.
You and I need to talk.
So I'd like to welcome Arlen to board. He'll do a good job for you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Terry. You go. Okay. Did I miss anyone? I think I've got.
Okay, I just had
Yes, please.
just a quick question. I wonder if, did we have any issues with students not wanting to wear masks or anything like that at all for the first day? Did you run into any problems or no?
I fielded a phone call from a family that wanted more information and just more understanding about mask wearing and the requirements. So right now we're in the process, like we would with any family, just trying to look for ways to make it easier, more doable for their children, and maybe hear back from them.
Okay. I guess in just one comment, I think I speak on behalf of the board that I know the administration and staff has put a lot of work into getting this opening day going. And I think the board has the full confidence in the administration and staff that you're going to be able to pull this off and make this successful, even though we got to go through all this. So I thank you personally and on behalf of the board for all of your efforts, and please relate that to your staff members too. Thank you.
And a lot of parents were anxious to get kids back to school too, that I heard from a variety of settings, including one I was working with last night, listening and asking questions. So. Moving to the financial report. Terry, I'll move that over to you.
Yeah, we met prior to the annual meeting, and basically it's a pretty typical month. We had some extra dollars come in, and mainly through the Fund 40 project for the Bierman Foundation. That really was the biggest in and out revenue coming in and expenditure going out, and the rest are pretty typical month with payroll and that alike. So in good shape at this point in time. We won't be receiving a lot of extra dollars from the state till a while now, but so we'll live through the next few months on what we have now. That's all I have, unless you have questions.
Any questions on the financial report? On Zoom, could you hear him? Shake a head. I don't know if your speaker was on.
No, it wasn't. Right.
Zoom, did you hear it?
No.
Did anybody on Zoom hear? Sherry?
No.
We're not hearing it much, but we're here.
Terry basically went through the financial report.
Yeah,
Did you
and
hear that?
basically, it's a typical year, or typical month, and nothing unusual.
Sherry or Dick, do you have any questions?
No, no question.
Thank you. Number 10, the second reading of policy 2266, non-discrimination on the basis of sex in education programs or activities.
And again, this is the second reading, that we didn't change anything from the first reading. Everything went through the first reading without any changes, if that makes sense. So this is the required policy that we have to, in order to comply with the federal law of Title IX federal law. So recommend your final approval.
We need a motion for the second reading of policy.
I move that we approve policy 2266.
Motion's been made.
I second it.
Motion's been made and seconded for the second reading of policy 2266. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to item 11, 2020-21, reopening updates.
Okay, I just put this on mainly just for the updates. We got quite a few updates just from the reports from the principals. You did receive in the attachments the flow charts that have been developed, and again, I do want to reiterate all the extra amount of time that the administration, the school nurse, and Trina, she's been working on these flow charts for months as well. So certainly, I don't see her online here, so she would be. I thought she was going to be here, but main thing is, do you have any questions looking through the flow charts? Anything that is unusual? But I know that it's kind of a step-by-step process, and what would happen if a student is sent home ill for COVID-related situation, or at least suspected, they will receive. Trina will be providing the parents with what to do next thing, and what they need to do, etc. So it's quite a process, and I think again it's those things we're going to be probably tweaking as we move through the next few weeks. But I think it's a good start, and I think we will handle what we need to do.
I think it's nice and clear and laid out for everyone so they can follow it very nicely.
Does the board have any other questions on the reopening? Like I said, I know it was addressed quite a bit in the principal's reports and administrative reports.
And I see Kari Krieger's also here?
Yeah, we have Kari Krieger to assist Trina with the first part of the year. We're going to kind of assess where we're at the end of the quarter, just to see how much extra we'll need to do. But again, we certainly appreciate that extra help, and I know Trina does as well.
And all the isolation rooms have been set up?
Yep, you know, we have the process where we're gonna set that up and we'll help parents look at their child.
Okay. No comments, no questions? Okay, moving on to item 12, public comment. Should we be able to comment on anything on the agenda from the public?
I had one item if I could. I just wanted to thank Terry for submitting that flexibility proposal to Representative Felkowski. I had recently learned that in the CISA 9 district, out of 22 districts, there were only 2 district administrators that submitted that proposal. So I thank you for that.
Thanks, Deb. Moving on to item 13, board referrals. I'd just like to mention to all board members, you should have gotten a flyer for the WASB, the fall conference. And it's all online this year and there's no charge, so we are Region 2. And our Region 2 date is September 29th, from 7 to 8. So if you didn't get this, I've got a copy, we can get copies of this, so if you're interested. That's it.
I do have to add one thing. We did reserve rooms for the state education conference in January, so we have the rooms reserved now. Whether or not it's going to happen or not, we'll have to do that. I think we reserved like 7 rooms. So.
Very proactive. Wow.
Yeah, so we'll have to make some commitment. They'll let us know probably sooner than later what's going on. But I know it's the 100th year, so they don't really want to.
They want to cancel.
They want to cancel, but they may have to. You never know.
Yeah.
Where's that held at, Terry?
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee?
At the conference center downtown.
Yeah.
That we stay across from there. It's quite enlightening sometimes. Other board referrals? Last night I found information, or the other day I found information on some board orientation materials that I've talked to Deb, with Deb working on CISA. I thought maybe she would be a resource that we can gather some information that we can put together for new board members. And then, so we'll work on that. And I guess I'd ask members, what are 3 things that you feel you would have liked to know when you started? And if you could get that to us by Monday, just shoot us an email or something like that. You know, 1 to 3 items, and so we can make sure that we have that information. Did you have something, Deb?
Oh, I did. I'm glad you brought that up. I just wanted to know if in the near future we could get something on the agenda or just some sort of presentation on how the Hatchet Pride, you know, expenditures and if we were within budget, that sort of thing.
Yeah, my plan is once it's completed and we get all the bills in and everything else, we'll do that as soon as we can.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Then I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for both meetings.
Stay safe.
Yes, stay healthy.
Kathy, your mom doing okay?